Mhm.
I'm start. Uh, cool. Say a few words about yourself. Who are you and what do you do for Russian listeners?
First, I want to say hello to Russia, right? I'm so excited to be talking to hypnotists and future hypnotists in Russia. And I'm very excited to have had these three hypnotists come all the way to America, all the way to Texas, all the way to the Banyan Hypnosis Center to do this. And it's really been great getting to know you three. I know that you're all very dedicated to the profession of hypnotism. Myself, I've been doing hypnosis full time for 22 years. My background is in psychology, and doing hypnosis came as an interest because an uncle of mine was a hypnotist. So I had that in my mind that hypnosis was not so strange because I grew up in a family that had a hypnotist. So I was always interested in it. When I studied psychology, got my bachelor's degree, got my master's degree, and then studied for my PhD, I wanted to learn about hypnosis, but in psychology, it was pretty much relegated to the history of psychology sometime around Freud. And so it wasn't until after I left school that I sought out training, and I got training through a trainer that could give a National Guild of Hypnotists, USA, certification, and with that, I got started and began doing my own research to become the best hypnotist I could be.
Good. What is Anitya's method of hypnotherapy? Anitness.
Uniqueness?
Yes.
I don't know what uniqueness is.
Okay. Please say about hypnotherapy. What is the method and
What is
how it is?
my method that I use?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. One of the things I found out when I first got into the hypnosis profession full time is there was really no systematic approaches in the direct kind of hypnosis that I do. And there were people who do a little bit of this, direct suggestion, or a little bit of age regression hypnosis, or maybe they do guided visualization, or they might do some indirect hypnosis. But I wanted something that was more direct, systematic, that I could teach other hypnotists, because at the time I had a hypnosis center that other hypnotists worked for me, so I could get a high level of result over and over, no matter who was doing it. And so I developed 5-Path. 5-Path originally stood for 5-phase abreactive therapeutic hypnosis. But because of the condition in the United States with limits on using therapeutical terms or medical terms, I changed it over to 5-phase advanced transformational hypnosis so that non-licensed professionals could help people using hypnosis. Now 5-Path is a 5-phase approach, not 5-session, 5-phase. And what it does is it involves using some of the most powerful hypnotic techniques available. Phase 1 uses instant and rapid hypnotic inductions to take someone to somnambulism. There will always be covert testing to ensure that the person is in that deep hypnotic state. At the end of phase 1, we have the hopeful somnambulistic client. Then we do phase 2, which is age regression and age progression work, where we find the cause of the problem and we transform that by using insight. Once that's done, then we move on to other emotional factors that tend to be holding people back. And that is anger at other people, anger and guilt at themselves. Those are taken care of in phase 3, is forgiveness of others. And then we have phase 4, which is forgiveness of self. Now, some people have a thing that's called secondary gain. And that means when you remove the cause of the problem, sometimes they're in a situation where they lose something significant if they get better. And in that case, they're reluctant to completely heal or change their ways. So that thing that they lose is considered secondary or secondary gain. The 5th phase of 5-Path is there to remove secondary gain so that we can have success with every client every time.
And tell us how did you started your career of hypnotist? How did you
You
start?
know, I started off, I'm a kind of person that I am either all in or all out. And when, after my certification, I decided I was going to do this, and we immediately opened a 2,000 square foot facility with 3 hypnotherapy offices. There was just me and my wife, and she doesn't do hypnotherapy, but she helps run the business. And I just went to work, and then after I built my clientele up, then I could hire another hypnotist, train her on what I do, and then eventually we had 6 hypnotists working out of our office in Minnesota. And that's how we really got going. Personally, I have taught everything I've ever done. I learned something, I usually teach it. So it made sense that I would eventually become an instructor. I started off teaching the National Guild Hypnotist course, and then eventually wrote my own course, because what I was doing was 5-path, and so the training that I do involves 5-path hypnosis or hypnotherapy, 7th path self-hypnosis, and it's supported by the model of the mind that you folks are familiar with, and the secret language of feelings.
Good. Thank you.
Kel, in Russia, people have many fears about hypnosis and don't know what is it, hypnosis. What are the most common misconceptions do people have about hypnosis in America?
In America, you know, the big thing is Hollywood movies, right? And so, you know, they might think hypnosis is like Dracula, you know, look into this thing and then they lose control, right? But after you've done hypnosis for a little while, you soon understand that you don't have control over your clients. What you do is you create an environment by preparing them for the hypnosis, answering important questions, so that they can opt into the process and allow you to lead them through a process that will take them into hypnosis. So common fears, misconceptions are losing control, looking funny like on stage hypnosis. And I tell people that, you know, this is different from stage hypnosis because the people who go on the stage want to look funny. I mean, they want to be on stage and do silly things. Also, the hypnosis done on stage, most of it, the phenomenon that is exhibited is in hypnosis. So that's called primary suggestibility. And what we do as hypnotists and hypnotherapists that help people is that the effect, the phenomenon occurs afterwards. And that's called secondary hypnosis.
Good. And my second question is, in Russia, the direction of non-directive hypnosis is very popular. What do you think about this non-directive hypnosis, like Richard Bender, like Dr. Milton Erickson? What do you think about?
Okay, so first of all, I want to say that that is not my area of expertise. And I know some people that I respect very much that do that kind of hypnosis, but it's not my flavor of hypnosis. My flavor is very direct. You know when the hypnosis session begins, and you know when it ends. And the client knows that they are either opting into the process or opting out. Sometimes it becomes very direct as we start dealing with emotional issues and things like that. So I can respect something because of the people that do it, but not really be an expert in it. I like having sessions. You see, this non-directive hypnosis kind of thing and NLP kind of thing, I think, and I'm not an expert in it, is best used by psychologists, social workers, psychiatrists, that they have a session. And what they're doing, they don't call it hypnosis. So they say these things, they say a metaphor, and the people don't realize they're hypnotized. But when I do hypnosis with someone, I want them to know they're hypnotized. I'm going to hypnotize them. I'm going to covertly test for somnambulism. Then I'm going to do convincers, eye lock, arm catalepsy, so that they know they're hypnotized. Then we're going to go through a series of hypnosis techniques depending on where we are in 5-path, and then I'm going to merge them. As a hypnotist, I can't imagine doing a session without the client knowing they're hypnotized. You know, I spend an hour with them and then go, okay, that'll be $300. And I go, well, when's the hypnosis going to start, right? They go, I did it. okay? So I just don't think that makes people feel comfortable. Again, for psychologists, they expect them to just talk, psychiatrists talk, counselors talk, so they can use those indirect techniques as part of therapy. But if you're a hypnotist, I recommend that you have a beginning and an end. Now, maybe I'm telling you more than you want to know here, but like with 5-Path is not a closed system. If I have a person who's trained in Ericksonian hypnosis or NLP, and they come to me and they learn 5-Path, you can integrate that stuff into 5-Path in the way they give suggestions, matching, all this kind of stuff. I say 5-Path is like the skeleton, and then you pack on it or dress it the way you want to make it your own.
Thank you.
Cal, I would like to ask you the next question. What kind of issues do people usually seek hypnosis for in America?
Now hypnotists like myself, generally we work with normal everyday people with normal everyday problems and challenges of life. So what kind of challenge they have? Bad habits, could be smoking or overeating. It could be a lot of fears, afraid of snakes or afraid of speaking in public or low confidence, these kinds of things. But I also see people who want to perform at a higher rate. Maybe someone who's in the ballroom dance competition and they know, if I could just do this one thing a little bit better. For some reason I won't do this one thing. And it's like, okay, we'll do hypnosis, and get you to do that thing. I work with gymnasts that want to do that one thing better. I've worked with people who are trying out for the Olympics that want to do that. When you're at a competitive rate, 1/10 of a second, or doing something just a little bit different, makes a difference between silver, bronze, and gold, right? So sports is also a very popular thing. Those are the biggest things. Sometimes kids working with confidence and also concentration and test anxiety, really all these kinds of things. And then a small percentage of what I do, 10 to 20%, is under doctor's referral. It's like psychosomatic illnesses. Like I tell the story in class about the blind boy, and I was referred by a psychiatrist. He was blind, and with hypnosis, I was able to get that vision back for him. But that's unusual, maybe 10-20% of what I do. I'm someone else that, I get people diagnosed with different psychiatric issues, and then doctors, psychiatrists, psychologists that I have a relationship with will refer people to me.
Thank you. And the next question, can hypnosis help with children? If so, in what way?
Well, children they're the easiest. Okay, I mean, if you're doing like age regression and direct suggestion and part stuff, kids naturally imagine things really well. And whenever you start imagining, you go into rapport with the subconscious mind. That's where your database is. In order to imagine, you must access that database of information, long-term memory. So it depends on the child. If the child's rather mature and you can have an intelligent conversation with the child, then you can use rather adult techniques. But if it's a less mature child, more childish child, then there's nice kind of playful imagining type techniques that you can use. I highly recommend hypnosis for children. 3 reasons. 1, they're easy. Number 2, from a financial point of view for the hypnotist, there's always money, much more money available for the child than adult. How many times has someone said, oh, I would never spend the money on myself, but Johnny needs to do better in school, and the money is there. And the other thing is just pure ethics. What's better, to help someone when they're 7, 17, 27, or 70? So the younger you can get them, the more quality life they're going to have.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Еще один вопрос задам, интересный. I have one question, last question. In Russia, the one of most popular problem is procrastination. How often came your office for the work this problem, and what I think about procrastination, what reason, and how work this problem?
Okay, procrastination in my experience, in my book, The Secret Language of Feelings, I talk about feel bad, distract. So they have a feeling inside them they don't like. It might be fear, anger, guilt, or whatever. And when they start to do this thing that they should be doing, it brings up the feeling inside of them. So what do? Anything else. Watch TV, read, drink, party, whatever it is, their favorite hobby, work. And so that burns up their time, and that's called procrastination. So it's really that feel bad, distract cycle that's going on. And so with hypnosis, what we do is we go after that emotion that they are avoiding. If they have anxiety, we've got to repair that anxiety. And then once that's done, then they no longer have to avoid that anxiety causing thing. For example, if they don't feel comfortable studying, right, then they're going to be playing games on the computer rather than studying. It's just a way to avoid that thing that makes them feel bad. Very easy to fix with hypnosis, when hypnosis is done right.
Okay, and finally, say please few words for Russian listeners for Russia.
Well, I think that Russia, I am American, and I think people forget that the Russian people and the American people are more alike than we are different. Our cultures are parallel. We're more alike than we are different. And hypnosis works for Americans and it works for Russians because we are more alike than we are different. And I urge you to seek out the very best training you can get because you don't have to be stuck anymore as individuals. I'm not talking to Russia is stuck, but people get stuck. Everybody's got something that they need to work on. So I encourage you to go out, seek the very best training you can get, and make a difference in people's lives. We need more really good hypnotists all around the world. And I hope someday I can come to Russia. That would be very exciting for me. I'd love to see a whole room full of Russians learning hypnosis, the 5-path way.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
You're welcome. My pleasure, my honor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.